What you waiting for? It's time. Time for love. It's time. Time for the sun and sand. It's time. Time for fun. It's time. It's time. It's time to let your hair down. Come on. Come on. Come on. To have no fear. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's time. What you waiting for? It's time. 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 What you waiting for?
And it is about that time. Ladies and gentlemen, a very, very warm welcome to every one of you. Thank you for tuning into the Merv Britto Show. We do the show live from Goa every Sunday. And we are very passionate about what we do. The show is a weekly live show that is there's no editing. It's actually done live on the trot. And we have a team that puts us all together. And I wanted to introduce the whole team on this Women's Day. I am so excited. I'm tripping over my own words. Today's Women's Day, so I'm going to wish everybody for Women's Day. But as we always do, I'm going to go around the room and just say thank you to all the people that make this happen, put the show together. We start off with the big fella himself, Mr. Britto.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another show, but this one is a big one.
I'm so excited.
We're very excited about this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wilbert Cardozo.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and happy Women's Day to all the ladies out there.
Yeah, happy International Women's Day.
Yes, indeed. The one and only Mr. Kirsten Roberosa. Go on, start, dude.
Salam and good day to all my beautiful people, and wishing every woman, all my habibis and habibtis, happy International Women's Day.
Habibis and habibtis. Is there a long list, mate?
Very, very long.
Oh my. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another gentleman in the studio who does not have a mic in front of him, who handles all of the social media. So if it's good, it's all Neil Ribeiro. Neil Rodriguez, I keep calling you. I confuse the two of you. Mr. Rodriguez, I apologize. Thank you so much for what you do. Happy Women's Day, by the way. It is an absolute pleasure. It's an honor. I'm so excited. It's like I mention this every time we have guests, but she's special. I can't wait to get to her. But before we get
they
to
had a sneak peek of her.
Did you?
At the top of
don't give away my surprise.
They did. I think William was just like trying to spoil a surprise.
He's not going to spoil it. On this Women's Day, I want to wish my wife, Joanne Britto, very happy International Women's Day. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Joanne Britto.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
You're not on the camera this week, sweetie.
Oh, I'm very happy not to be on the camera. I'm very, very happy to have a more important person on the camera in front of me instead.
On this Women's Day, we spoke about it last week. She was kind enough. She's an absolute rock star in my books. At a time when nobody actually knew a whole lot about it, she was a trendsetter, somebody who led the way in basically incorporating and making something that people were embarrassed to talk about, make it commonplace. She's a famed educator, in a calling, in a field for education. Ladies and gentlemen, she's very well known throughout. It is my proud privilege to present to you the one and only Dr. Nandita DeSouza.
Oh my goodness, what an introduction. I was looking around the room to see who you were talking about. Thank you, Merv, and the team over here. As I was telling him earlier, I must have done something good to be given this gift of having a conversation with Merv Britto on the Merv Britto Show.
You must not have been very good, Doc.
International Women's Day, and a big shout out to all the women out there. We are going to celebrate you and all women, including trans and queer women, because we can't have justice unless it's inclusive. So happy International Women's Day to all my wonderful, wonderful women buddies. Thank you.
I'm so excited, Doc. And Joanne and I have been talking about it all week. You've done something at a time where not a lot of people knew a whole lot about special needs. And I mentioned it's a calling. It's a noble field. We've got a lot of educators in my family. My grandpa, Hubert, his daughter, my mother, Thelma. her daughter Paula, my sister, her daughter Priyanka. It is something that these people, it's a calling, and you started doing this when people didn't know a whole lot about special needs, ADHD, autism, neurological disorders. We're going to get so into this. We're going to get and talk about this a lot more. I want to get to know about what drove you or what made you do this, but I'm so happy to have you on the show. It is something that we've been wanting to do for a while, and today on International Women's Day, it is our pleasure. Thank you so much, first of all, for being so kind to take time out of your schedule to be on the show. You're born and raised in Goa? Or I want to get to know what got Dr. Nandita DeSouza started and to where she is today. Give us a little bit about your background.
So actually, I was born in Jammu, in Kashmir.
Wow.
My father was in the army, and he was posted there at that time. And according to my mother, actually, they'd already decided that they had enough kids, but I insisted on being made and born. So, and she was a teacher, and I was born in September. And the final exams were, you know how the SSC exams were, whatever, by Jan, it was really heating up. So the nuns actually begged of her to come back to work by, I think, November. So, yeah, she abandoned me to my older sister, who was 14 years old. And, yeah, who looked after me. Of course, my mom was there. But, so I'm blessed. I have a biological mother and my two older sisters who were like moms to me. They're 13 and 14 years older than me. So, yeah, I'm a pampered princess. I always say people are born with a silver spoon. I was born with an entire cutlery set. Yeah.
Did you the total 4 siblings, 4 sisters, 4 girls?
We were 5. Yeah. So 4 girls and 1 boy.
And when
I'm the baby of the family.
You're the youngest in the family. Yeah. When did you guys end up coming to Goa? What year?
So my dad was posted in Goa, I think 1964. Yeah. So I was 4 years old, and I'm a hippie baby, so in the 60s. Wow. and yeah, we were here for about 4 or 5 years. During that time, my dad was posted in NIFA at that time, what is now Arunachal Pradesh,
Gotcha.
Northeast Frontier Agency, because he was an engineer and he used to build roads. So he was with the border roads. But we couldn't go there because it was a non-family station. So we stayed on in Goa. And in 1971, we moved to Delhi just before the Indo-Pak War. And I remember I was 11 years old, and, you know, we had like air raid sirens, and it was very exciting. And then in 1973, we moved to Lucknow. So I was there for a short time before moving back. My dad retired in Lucknow, and then we moved back
to Goa.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I love that family connection that you also pointed out as well before we started the show.
She mentioned something I didn't know, and she thought Dr. Nandita thought that I knew about. She actually studied with my sister Lorraine in Lucknow.
Yes, we were classmates.
And
standard
wow, that
5 and 6 and 7, I think. Yeah.
Listen, I couldn't have dreamt up a better guest. Today's International Women's Day, and before I forget, I've wished you, Joanne, Doc, happy Women's Day. And you've done so much for not only education, inclusivity, and you started Sethu. I want to get your thoughts on before we get and dig deeper and dive deeper into the Sethu phenomenon that you've created. What are your thoughts? What is something about Women's Day that you would like to put out there into the ether, into anybody listening for this International Women's Day?
Yeah. So I think women are really a very powerful force. And unfortunately, for many, many centuries, that power has not been given to them. There has been, International Women's Day, started about a century ago, and there definitely has been improvement. But unfortunately, I think in the last few years, we've actually seen a regression in the status of women. And many of their rights are being denied to them. So I don't want to be a killjoy, but it's really, sometimes I feel, is there anything to celebrate? Because we seem to be going backwards. At the same time, despite that, women are known to rise in crisis. So I can see that the way the current situation is going, it's a call for even more unity, even more kind of equity, because we do have legislation, not as much as we need, but it is there. However, legislation does not mean equity, and that is something, it has to be practiced, it has to be followed. And I think women coming together with everybody. So really, it's not on women to make women powerful and give them their power. I think it's everybody.
Society in general.
In general. We are all in this together. And yeah, I mean, I'm privileged to be on this platform, both to celebrate whatever we can, as well as to really make a plea for, better action, people coming together, and really raising our voices wherever we see injustice.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some of these pictures on the screen, Joanne. I don't know if you've seen, you're watching these pictures on the screen these are phenomenal, well-accomplished people. And Doc, by the way, I'm a big fan of Women's Day. I grew up a mama's boy. I've got sisters, I've got a wife, I've got nieces and nephews. And I don't think this day and age, women get enough kudos and enough credit for what they do and what they put up with. This is predominantly a patriarchal society. And I agree with you 100%. Women's Day should be celebrated, has to be celebrated more, and people have to understand the absolute importance of women in our society and what they bring to the table.
Absolutely, because, I mean, you said it's over a century old, and I had no clue. I was having a little look earlier on today, and I didn't know that it was actually created 115 years ago. So imagine that in 1911. That's like phenomenal that it was, there was the foresight there and then. But
Someone's done their research.
I think
1911.
But I know, but who would
And
believe?
women protesting, actually, for their rights and for the right to vote.
Born out from the suffragettes and things like that, which is amazing. But one thing I just wanted to say, I absolutely agree with you, because I listen to a great podcast on a daily basis, based from the UK. Jane Garvey and Fee Glover, they're ex-BBC presenters. And the thing is, they talk about this kind of thing a lot, and they always say it shouldn't have to be just women talking about this. It's really men that should be talking about these things in their platforms, on their WhatsApp chats, in the workplace, because you're absolutely right, it does feel like there has been a regression over the last few years, and it's really sad to see after all that perceived progress that there had been, it has slid back a little bit recently.
It kind of surprises me. We've had a couple of very, very strong leading women here in India. Obviously, Indira Gandhi comes to mind, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. But we had a Shashikala Kakotkar, which was one of the first women chief minister of Goa, right? And you would think, like a lot of these progressive cultures, Japan and all these places where they do have women in power, the what are they called, the European countries, there's a lot of progress. But I still see that backwardness in India, in the north, in these places where women are almost treated like second class citizens. And it's a shame. It's we couldn't be where we are without women. There's a phrase my dad always joked about with my mom, and Mom always said, behind every successful, strong man is a woman.
Of course.
And that is so true. Doc, you mentioned trans and you mentioned people. Speak more about that, actually. On this Women's Day, this is something that needs to be more taken seriously.
Right. So since I work with the neurodivergent population, we do know that, sexual diversity, gender diversity is much more common among the neurodivergent population. And I think, human beings are so complex. I really don't understand when it's so simple for us to accept each other, why there is this hate hate and fear, and it really comes from ignorance and from a sense of threat. And because of this, we see really wonderful human beings. I mean, every human being has the right to be respected, to belong, but because it's not the norm, people aren't used to it, there's this huge backlash of denying people their identity. So for me, gender identity is something which is very, very personal. And just because we've been used to like being cisgender, that's what is spoken about. Transgender people are completely denied their rights, and that's very, very wrong. So I just thought, because many people don't talk about it, and I think it's very important. So I wanted to mention it because I think, when you come to know the diversity, which is beauty for me, in human beings, and you're able to see every person for who they are.
Yes.
And it's at the end of the day, it is like we all have a right to belong.
Absolutely.
And to be accepted as we are. And nobody else can tell someone else what their identity should be, because that is something they live day in and day out, and they wake up with it. So I cannot judge anybody else and tell them that their identity should be different just because my identity is some way.
Absolutely. A little bit different. It's something new. But can I also say this, and I'm glad you're mentioning it, and we need to talk about this. This is really, really important. The fact of the matter is, we've taken it's been anecdotal. It's been a laugh. You take the mick out of these people. We've got what we call chakkas and hijras and transgenders. If somebody would take the time to think about how hard their lives are to survive, they've always been the butt of jokes, and you tease people clapping your hands, and these transgender women have been around our society for many, many years, and they have a very hard time to survive.
So Merv, if you look at queer people, in fact, queer people have taken that word queer, which used to be derogatory, and made it their own, and they say it with pride. Hats off to them, right?
And you've got your rainbow earrings in too, I noticed,
yes.
which is fabulous.
I hope they're dangling. Yeah, so the rainbow is for diversity in general. Mm-hmm. So it's not just hard, it's dangerous. Do you know the murder rate is 20 times more?
Wow.
The murder rate, forget the suicide rate, which is also very high. So it just breaks my heart that, it's and we don't have to do anything except find out, talk, break down barriers, which these are attitudinal barriers. That's it. And get over our fear and actually embrace diversity in all its multi-splendored glory.
Doc, you've got to have. I agree with you 100%, and that relates to a lot of different topics: racism and like you're saying, multicultural. It breaks down to education, communication, getting to know. It is always a fear of something you don't know, and that's probably why people are so anti or against stuff. Once you get to know the struggles these people.
And it challenges the traditional power balance, and that nobody wants to lose their power. So if they can gain power by hating somebody or putting someone down, demonizing people, unfortunately, we're human beings. We do it.
It's a damn shame.
Yeah.
That's something else that I love about you, and I'm happy to mention it. You ooze positivity. She's the kind of person you can talk to. Dr. Nandita, we call her Nandu, people that know her, and she's such an approachable person that's just oozes positivity in spades. You mentioned kind of dirty words of people that are not familiar with these kind of things. You founded Sethu, and we're going to get more into it again. But even things like ADHD, people that have autism, people that have different needs, differently abled children.
People with disabilities or disabled people.
People don't talk about these things. It's an embarrassment. My kid has got this or my kid's got that. I don't want to talk about it. I hope the neighbors don't find out. These are the things, and along with gender diversity, these are the things that need to be spoken about, and people need to educate themselves about it, don't they?
The world has to change. I think, again, it's not on people, disabled people or, gender diverse people or to change the world, because they have to protect themselves too. And if coming out creates, a dangerous situation for them, I think people, make their decisions based on their own lives. So this is why the world has to change. And we have to be allies. Now, I don't have a defined disability. I have ADHD, but that's not recognized as a disability, right? So let's say I'm not autistic, but I have to be an ally to autistic people, and make sure that I learn as much as I can how to be an ally. The same for any kind of diversity. right? I am cisgender, but that doesn't mean that, because it doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm cisgender, so why should I care? No, we all must care. We all must make that effort to learn more, to reach out, and to actually speak up for our brothers, sisters, and everybody else on earth, because the world can be a very scary place. And when we see injustice, if I keep quiet, I'm just being a bystander who's silent.
And letting it happen. And letting it happen.
Yeah. So, and why did I keep quiet? Because I'm scared. But I have much less to lose than the person who's actually facing the bullying or the hate or whatever it is.
Every day of their lives.
Yeah. So I think that, yes, we want people to speak up. We want people to advocate for themselves. At the same time, it cannot be only on them. Everybody has to advocate for all the marginalized, vulnerable people on this earth.
It takes a village, no? It takes a lot of people.
It takes a village to, raise a child, and all of us belong there. All of us are fellow villagers.
You mentioned this, and something that tugs at my heartstrings. You mentioned about autism or a lot of these special needs that people don't know a whole lot about. But the thing about it is, most importantly, how does a little tot, a little sapling, a little kid explain to your parents or somebody with a special needs, explain that I need special help? Listen, I am not like the norm where you've had kids popping out, you've got 3, 4, 5 kids and everything was fine. Special needs is huge in India because it's not spoken about. It's like rape and these things that happen in the north, and we talk about Women's Day. These bad things happen. I love the fact that you've spoken so much about, you talk about transgender, but the fact is that we need to educate ourselves to be able to identify these needs in these kids, which is another generation. Somebody's going to grow up and take care of themselves. And that's what you've identified. How did you have the foresight back whenever you started the organization Sethu? I love the fact that it takes care of kids in need and will take care of kids in need. What made you think about it so far in advance in a place where it was not that common?
Well, wouldn't you want to go back to her education? What led her into that?
I'm now she's already speaking about it. I want to know when did you found Sethu?
So Sethu started in 2005. It's not me who founded it. 6 women got together.
Who were the 6 women?
So there were 3 trustees, Elvina Menezes, Amita Mascarenas, and Sneha Bhandari.
Yeah.
And 3 of us working there. That's besides myself. There was Yogita Joshi, who was a special educator, and Anjali Barreto, who's actually Ajoy Barreto's sister. So
one of the 2.
Go Anjali.
Go Anjali, big fan of hers.
Absolutely. I mean, Anjali, out of the 6 original people at Sethu, 3 of us are still there. Yeah. So that's Amita, who's still a trustee, and Anjali and myself. So we've been there 20 years now. And honestly, Merv, I don't see my work as me doing something great. It's a complete honor and privilege. I can't tell you how blessed we all are. And for us, so children, working with children is something very, very precious. Yeah. I can't think of anything better on earth. And I'm going to kind of go back a little bit to my education because, Joanne made me think of something, which was when I started, I studied medicine and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a surgeon because, saving lives, blood everywhere, and you rush in maybe too many Hollywood movies. But then I remember I was an intern and there was one of the lecturers of surgery and somebody had come in with a big cut on his hand and he said, "Do you want to suture?" And I said, "Yes." And then I held the needle and the forceps in my hand, and my hands were shaking so badly. He said, "You better have a drink and come next time." And then I decided, no, surgery is not for me. And then, how I decided to do pediatrics? I had a crush on the Professor Mazumdar.
Oh, good for you.
I did not even like children. Can you imagine what a stroke of luck that was? And he was wonderful, Professor Mazumdar. He was very fond of me. He used to hold all the quizzes. So I was always representing Goa Medical College with my other buddy, Rodney Aguiar, who was my classmate. He he kind of took a shine to me because whatever, he saw me there, and so he's called me, come here, my child. And he would give me a tin of milk powder. Or in those days, it wasn't illegal for these baby food companies to give you samples. So he made sure. He said, looking very pale. He said, take this milk powder and make sure you have a glass.
And that's what got you into pediatrics.
I mean, he was a darling. I wanted to be just like him.
Yeah.
Fortunately for him, he left Goa Medical College just before I became a resident. Otherwise, I would have harassed him, I think.
Oh my!
But we stayed in touch. He was my mentor, and God bless his soul. He's no more. But I loved pediatrics from the day I entered it. Again, because every child is so different. So I love a challenge that comes from my ADHD. And there was no looking back after that.
Joanne mentioned your education. You went to school here in Goa, right? You went to St. Mary's?
I finished school in St. Mary's, but I was in Goa briefly from the age of 4 to about 9. And I studied in a school called Cristo Rey, which unfortunately no longer exists.
Where was this?
So this was in Panjim, where the Caritas Centre is now. Yeah. It was part of the Rosary High School, which is in Donna Paula, Our Lady of the Rosary High School. So my mother was a teacher there. My elder sister was also a teacher there. And the sister older to me was a student at Rosary High School. But I was still in primary school, so we were at Cristo Rey. And I must tell you this funny story. When I was of course, there was no preschool at that time, so I went straight into Standard 1 at the age of 4. And I hated school because, how you have to get up on time and whatever, sit in place. And I was quite a wild child. So my brother, who was in Tempe College at that time, and the bus driver, I still remember his name, Carlos, he used to stop the bus in front of my home that was in the military camp in Altin, get out of the bus, and my brother Vivek and Carlos used to catch me by the hands and legs and put me onto the bus. That's how I got an education, because of two men who insisted that I should be educated. When I was in class, because my teacher, Rosie Mendonça, wonderful soul, she was my family friend, my close friend of my mother. I insisted that I would only stay in class if I could sit on her lap.
How sweet.
So she would teach with me sitting on her lap, and I distinctly remember this. I mean, I was a bully right from day one. But yeah, that's how so there were so many people in my life who kind of supported me and help me to do the things that you're supposed to do, but which can be a little boring. And the first call, of course there were no phones, it was a message to my parents. My mother got called to the principal's office at Cristo Rey because apparently I had been drawing pictures and selling my art for 1 naya paisa, and I was insisting that every child should buy a piece of art drawn by me.
Enterprise.
And they went home and told their parents that they had to take 1 naya paisa because Nandita was, they had to buy this picture. So the parents complained. Yeah, where that entrepreneurial spirit went, I don't know, but I was a handful right from the beginning.
But I love the fact, can I tell you something? I love the fact that you actually remember the teachers' names. And these teachers and educators, like we talk about Women's Day, that is that is such a noble tradition. People get into. Ajay, you want to take a quick one?
Yes, we have a comment from Stories with Sam 7492. A couple of comments. One is he says, love you, Nandu, and says, cheers to the power of 6.
Power of 6. What is the power of 6? Do you know?
I think the 6 of us who started.
I love the fact that you remember your teachers' names, and I do remember a couple of teachers, because teachers make such an impression. After our parents and families, they're the educators that spend the most amount of time with us. You finished off at GMC College, decided you want to get into pediatrics. What pediatrics is not Sethu? How did you get to? Pediatrics is children.
Right. Yeah. So working with children, again, all children are very, very unique. Yeah. And they just bring a very fresh, I can't find a word to describe it. There's just a magic. Magic about them. And because they're so unique and they still haven't, when they're very young, learned how to mask or how to pretend to be something they are not. That straight away spoke to me. And I think basically I'm an internal child at heart. And kids, they're the best bosses because they forgive you. They don't hold anything against you, right? So I think just that environment where I was challenged, and it was fun, because you can't keep a serious face when kids are around. They'll always find ways to entertain you, make you laugh, make you forget your worries. When I was from Goa Medical College, I went into the health services, and I was the senior pediatrician at Hospedaria Hospital.
Yeah.
And that's when I took care of a lot of babies who we call high risk. Because they have had some difficulties during birth, or they may have been born preterm, or they had, say, some complications in the neonatal period. And I found I enjoyed that a lot. We started a high-risk follow-up clinic. And though I love the other part of the work, like because when you work in a government hospital, you're always in a rush. It's very challenging. You sitting in an outpatient with like 60 children outside. It's almost like an assembly line. And you're doing good work, but there was something which I knew I wanted to do more. And I love talking to people. I'm intensely curious. Sometimes it's a bit like an interrogation because I ask so many questions. I can be very nosy, only because I'm so curious and I just want to understand who you are and what brought you here and so on. So I realized that I wanted to spend more time actually talking to families. Besides just treating children. So that's when I decided to do developmental pediatrics, which was not even a thing in India.
Absolutely.
But I used to watch this show of Dr. Barry Brazelton. He was a developmental pediatrician in the U.S., and I think the show was called Touch Points, if I'm not mistaken. And, cable TV had just come out that time. So I was very impressed by that kind of work. So I said, okay, I'm going to give up my job and my government job.
Wow.
And just do this, become a developmental pediatrician. And my colleagues told me that's professional suicide. Who gives up a secure government job? I said, you know what? Yeah, that's true. It is secure. But why are you doing this? They'd asked me. I said, I think it'll be fun. So that's how I gave up the government job. I started private practice. And then because no one else was doing developmental pediatrics, whenever my colleagues, they had a child in front of them who had some developmental concern or was not sitting in place, they would just say, go to Nandita. And that's how my fame grew, and it was perfect. So I think my timing was right.
This is at a time when it wasn't spoken about, and a lot of parents didn't know what was wrong with the children, right?
Yes. I think parents are very good at picking up when something is different, right? And honestly, I want to make sure I say this right. I think that difference is something that is this common. Everyone's different. However, there are certain, I would say, features or conditions which stand out. And, we kind of have to understand that. And quite often, it is called by a name. So maybe it's intellectual disability, or it is autism, or it is ADHD. And it's seen as a label, but actually it's not. I suppose it is a label in a way. At the same time, it is a way to understand, because even within autism or within any of the disabilities, cerebral palsy, or you take mental health, it could be like obsessive compulsive disorder. In any of these, there is so much of variation, and therefore, when we have a label or a name, it's a name for a pattern, but it doesn't describe the entire person. And that is something which I want to make sure that people understand, that if you've seen one autistic person, you have seen one autistic person. You don't know autism. And therefore, for me, getting to know each person as an individual, getting to know each family and their context is really the way forward. We do use names, we do use diagnosis, but that does not define who that person is, because they are so much more than their diagnosis, whether they are children or they are adults.
And they're different. There's many different types of autism.
There's many different. Yes, I mean it's a it's a spectrum.
Gotcha.
So it's important that we don't only look at that label or that diagnosis, but look beyond to understand what are the strengths of that individual. As well as what are the supports in their family. And actually Sethu's brand is strengths-based, neuro-affirming, family-centered care. And what do we mean by this? Strengths-based, because we start with what's strong rather than with what's wrong. Not that we are negating struggles, that, be positive, everything's fine. No. But in every crisis, in every messy situation, there are strengths that shine through. And it's so important that that story also gets told. Neuro-affirming, because all brains are wired differently, and all brains are different, not less. And family-centered, because families are the experts of their children. And that is one of India's biggest riches, our families. And our families are with us from the day we are born. And, they really are the experts of their children. So, we've literally, I think, got a trifecta of an approach.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Which is really working for us, and it's not rocket science. Anyone can use it.
You mentioned it takes a specialist, somebody who studies and understands it, because a lot of times parents that have newborns or kids or they can't figure out what it is, they have to take it to someone who does understand. I've got a rock star of a little buddy friend of mine named Neymar Suarez. He's in Moira, and his parents' first kid didn't know what was wrong with him, and I take my hats off to these kind of parents that just are ready to do whatever it takes. That's my flesh and blood. Like you said, the family will do anything. He's been encouraged to get into music. He plays the violin. He does martial arts. He does so many. He dances. Joanne, you know Neymar, right?
Yeah.
He's such a talented kid. He's got autism, and a lot of times parents, they're willing to do anything, but they need to go to people like you, to specialists. And that's why I think it's so important. Sethu, back in whenever you started, was such a huge asset to have around, where if you thought there's potentially something wrong with a child, you could take it to an expert like you, and you can still do these things right now. But people have to understand they're differently abled, and it takes an expert to understand what that issue is.
Right. So rather than what's wrong with the child, I would say what's the difference?
Yeah.
People notice, my parents notice there's something different. And I think, of course, there's a lot of fear, so there may be a delay. But it's not just organizations like Sethu. I think anybody who cares for children, educates them, can be, again, knowledgeable about child development and really understand not just like where the struggle is, but also look for the strengths in the child. How does this child learn? Maybe they can't sit in place, but maybe they're very good when they're doing something. So it's like hands-on learning. Or maybe they learn when there's music with it. Or maybe they learn when they move. Or how? So this is not something new. We've had the concept of multiple intelligences for ages. Right, but somehow it hasn't been it's not very strong, or people don't talk about it very much when it comes to education, especially traditional education. However, these concepts, these opportunities are there, and therefore our goal at Sethu is to really create a capacity beyond Sethu, because we do not want each and every child to come to us and say, oh, please come to us and experience, a miracle. Not at all. Yeah. And if I train one teacher, that teacher is in touch with so many more children.
Yeah.
So it's really, our aim is to build capacity, because anyone can do it. Everyone can do it. And we can't do it alone.
Yeah.
Sethu is a bridge. That's why it's a bridge, because all these people, whether they're teachers, parents, doctors, nurses, lawyers, whoever, they're all pillars of that bridge to hope and understanding called Sethu.
I love that. I love that. Go on.
Yeah, I was reading earlier because you talk about positive behaviour support, because kids who are differently able can often be labelled as bad or naughty. And I was reading that it was saying it's something about signs of unfulfilled needs. And I thought that was really interesting because I'd never thought about it like that before. And I've got a niece who also has developmental challenges as well. And I know, she kind of does that behavior where she starts flapping her hands and she starts repeating herself and things like that. And she gets overly excited and fixated on certain things. And obviously, to the untrained eye or people who don't know that, people out and about might wonder why are children behaving like this.
They're badly behaved.
And that's obviously something that you guys identify
they're problem solving.
Yeah.
They're problem solving. They are self-regulating.
Yeah.
Because when we feel overwhelmed, when we feel under any sense of threat, adrenaline and cortisol are released into our bloodstream. Mm-hmm. And that adrenaline is what gives us the power to run away from that threat.
Yeah.
That's how, the cave people survived. Because if there was a bear in front of them, they either needed to play dead. That's the, freeze response. Mm-hmm. Or if it was smaller than them, maybe fight that threat. Right. And there you need a lot of muscle power, or run away, the flight response.
Yeah.
So the thing is that all behaviors are actually solutions to something.
Yeah.
Right? The behavior may eventually become a bigger problem than the original problem, but all human beings have an inborn intelligence. And when we experience the world through our senses, even unconsciously, we don't even think about it, our body responds generally to keep us safe. Mm-hmm. So when we have somebody who paces or who, flaps their hands in a situation where they're obviously uncomfortable, that's a form of self-regulation.
Wow.
When you have a child who picks up something and flings it looks like bad behavior. Yeah. And someone may say, stop that throwing, but we have to see what's under that throwing, what is dictating that throwing. And that is communication. Either the child says, I don't want to do this, or, I want to get away from this situation, right? So behavior is a window to understand what's going on inside.
Yeah.
And it's very important that we don't try to fix behavior, because we have to understand the reason for it and then respond at the level of the reason. Mm-hmm. And this is something we want teachers, parents to understand.
Yeah.
It's a child trying to solve a problem.
And sorry, carry on.
Right. So in fact, that's why we talk about strengths, because when people have lived, if you've lived and if you've survived, especially the messy parts, you have become stronger. You have learned something.
Yeah.
It sucks to be in a mess, right? It sucks when you're in that moment. You don't know what to do. You're confused. You're depressed. You're broke. You're whatever it is. But if you've survived it, you have learned something.
Yeah.
And very often we don't want to talk about that mess because it just feels so awful. And yes, it may be risky to do it on your own. But when you are with a professional, with someone else who can create a safe space, a non-judgmental space where you can explore what you went through, that's where the solutions come from.
Yeah.
So lived experience equals to expertise. The experts are the ones who've experienced.
Yeah.
Been through it.
And that's why, the neurodivergent population or people who have faced any kind of discrimination or, rejection, whatever it is, right? The harsh realities of life, they are actually the experts of their own lives. And it's so important that professionals like me don't think that just because we have degrees or we've read books or articles, I'm not saying that's not important. Yes, it's important.
Very much so.
Stay up with research and so on. But understand the person in front of you.
Yes.
Because they may say, please tell me what to do. I'm so confused. We can never tell someone else what to do because we have not walked in their shoes.
Yeah.
But we can create a relationship of trust, of mutual respect, where that person is able to talk about what they've gone through, what has worked, what has not worked, and collaboratively we can find what will work best.
Absolutely.
I want you to hold that thought, Doc. I want to come right back to this. Ladies and gentlemen, all the excitement of having Dr. Nandita here on the show on International Women's Day. I forgot to do our station IDs. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Merv Britto Show. We're so proud to have her here, as we always do. This is an interactive show. We put these social media handles, our social media handles. Joy's making signs to me. We've got a couple of calls, a couple of messages coming in. I don't want to interrupt, and we'll definitely get back to these questions. But if you want to get in touch with us, you're watching the show. This is a live broadcast show anywhere you get your social media. We're on this with all our social media handles on the screen right now. We've also got a website, themervbrittoshow.com, where you can watch previous episodes, get to know the team, the people that put this all together. Today's show is I couldn't think of a better guest to have. We've dreamed of having her on, and she's been kind enough to join us. We're talking to the one and only Dr. Nandita DeSouza about Sethu and something that is, I think that is so important for
Mervyn,
humans.
just to say,
overall, just development of humans. Yeah, go on.
Just as a reminder, it was 6 females that actually set up Sethu.
Yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it? I'm just saying, as a rewind.
On Women's Day.
Yes, exactly.
Joanne, I mentioned that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, just like, ponder on that.
Let's cheer.
It was 6 females that did it, no, on International Women's Day. Big it up even more.
Yeah, absolutely. No. I'm glad we're doing Dr. Nandu on Women's Day. The fact of the matter remains that we do every show, Doc. We do different shows, and when we do have a guest, we want to have an expert in their field. Simply for anyone listening to the show, they might get, like you're saying, you were lucky enough, educator in the family, you decided to take it up, and your life changed from being an actual surgeon or to get into pediatrician, to get into pediatrics. The fact of the matter remains, we've got young people, impressionable people that might listen to the show, and you've got a heck of a lot of fans. You're a rock star out there. But for that strange person alone who's sitting and listening and trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, a show like this could make a huge difference. I've already mentioned the fact that to be able to identify these different disorders or these different abilities, you need an expert. The thing that bothers me is you never know when somebody's that young. They can't speak and validate what they're feeling and what the problem is. And that's why it's so important for adults, parents newly, or parents that have just had new kids, who just have children that have been born, to get that help. There's nothing embarrassing. There's nothing shameful. I've been married to you for 18 years and you still want to send me back. But the warranty, you married me many years ago, and the warranty's run out, Joanne. You think there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. But on that, no, all I was going to say was, because of the fact that you support the whole community, and it's not just a single child, it's actually the community that surrounds that child. I was also reading around the fact that you also have counselling sessions, that is also for the family and the parents, maybe brothers, sisters, that kind of thing, which I just love, that holistic approach, because, obviously it seems like very American, people are in therapy and people have a little bit of a stigma around it.
And medication.
In general, it has been like that in India. However, what I love is the fact that you're breaking down those barriers, and people realize that they have to take care of themselves first before they can take care of others.
Absolutely. It's so important to, and this especially for parents and of course mothers who, work themselves to the bone. And very often when families come to us, and because we believe in parental mental health, it's like the oxygen mask. You cannot help anybody else till you've put on your oxygen mask first.
Absolutely.
And so we always ask about this: how are you looking after yourself? How you managing, and how are you looking after yourself? And very often moms tell us, no, I'm absolutely fine. Forget about me.
Typical Indian mothers. I'm fine. I can take care of it.
And it's really important for all women to understand that if we are not feeling rested, or haven't eaten properly, or didn't sleep last night, we're not going to have the energy and the patience and the strength to care for our kids. Of course, we're still doing our best, but even your mobile phone, you buy the most expensive one, you have to charge it. Yeah. You have to charge it. You can't tell it to keep working unless it's plugged in, right? So we have to recharge our energy levels. And I think I'm not saying go for a 1-hour yoga class. If you have the time, great. But most of us don't. So how can you incorporate self-care into your daily routine so that it happens?
Yeah.
Because I always say this is the only time I wag my finger at mothers. Like, you have to look after yourself, right? And I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
So, things like, think of the moments of joy in your life. Right. So maybe you're drinking your cup of chai in the morning and you know how it's nice and hot and sweet. Just like savor it, stretch that feeling for 2 seconds more. Even that can relieve some stress. Or you are stroking your pet dog and, cuddle with it, stretch that a little more. Or you've seen a beautiful tree, full of flowers, savor that. So that is a way to kind of soak in some of the joy that exists outside. And then, of course, we have a list of things you can do, things which take 1 minute, which are self-care.
Yeah.
If you have 5 minutes, you can do this, right? Because at least if you understand that this is important, I'm not being selfish, I am being sensible.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
It's necessary. I always tell people, if I haven't taken care of myself, I'm a threat to others.
Yeah.
I seriously am, because I'm, biting everybody's head off.
Absolutely.
And it's just because I haven't taken care of myself.
Doc, I love the analogies. I got to say to you, we'll take this call right now. I love the analogies, and I've always said that to people in my office downstairs. I never understood the analogy of on an airplane when the oxygen masks fall down, they always say, take care of yourself first. And you'd say, no, you want to take care of the kids first. No, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. You can buy the most expensive phone, the smartest phone in the world, but if you don't plug it in, if you don't recharge it, it's not going to work. And if you genuinely, I salute the parents that will do, our Indian parents around the world, but our Indian parents specifically will do anything for their children. And I saw that with my mother. Thelma would wake up at the earliest hour, would be the last one to go to bed, slogged to the bone with 5 kids, taking care of a house and blah, blah, blah. And parents don't complain. But you almost feel guilty that you're taking care of yourself, but you have to. It's so important for the taking care of the younger ones, for the children that actually need your help. Ajo, you got a call?
I didn't have a call, but I have a comment for Dr. Nandita, and it's from Shubhra. She says, Dr. Nandita is an inspiration to so many of us who have had an opportunity to work in Sethu.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's lovely.
Shubhra is a special educator and does wonderful work with kids. Thanks, Shubhra.
You're so embarrassed. You know what, Doc? You're a rock star. Many people see it this way. There's a lot of people watching and listening to the show probably that know the name Dr. Nandita, but I've interacted with you. You're such an easygoing, fun-loving, a person that does so much for everybody else.
That's because you don't live with me.
I was gonna lead into Lewis. Listen, you got married to a very handsome gentleman who's somebody we need to have on the show. I want to do a show. I mentioned to you about
St. Louis.
Is he St. Louis?
When he lives with me, we've been married 40 plus years now and dated 8 years before that. So
48 years together.
Yes.
St. Louis.
And you get only 15 years for double murder.
He could have gotten away a long time ago. God, these pictures are going to come up on the screen. We're going to see, there's a picture of you, your wedding day. How cool is that, Lewis, back in the day?
So I must tell you why we had garlands, because my husband doesn't wear any jewelry. So he said, I'm not going to wear a ring. Okay. So I said, well, if you're not going to wear a ring, then I'm also not going to wear a ring. So then we decided to have garlands. But when we turned, 25 years, I said, you know what? I need a badge of honor. So I've got my silver 25-year.
Look at the beautiful picture. Look at him looking at you. That's the handsome Lewis looking at you with your newborn, right? What is the baby's name?
Dhruv.
That's Dhruv many years ago, right? Look at Lewis's face.
He's my PhD in parenting, and I have lots of funny stories about him.
He's a character on his own, right? I was telling Ajo, we're going to do a show called The Legends, and there's going to be people that I would love to interview, and he is one person I would love to have on the show. I'm going to speak to him about it. There's another beautiful
have
picture.
Some kind of a podcast of mother-son. Our love language is sarcasm, by the way.
Oh, brilliant.
We have two. Besides the 5, 2 other love languages. One is sarcasm and the other is forgiveness. But we have a blast. And so I must tell you, there's so many jokes, but I'll tell you the one which happened just today. So on Sundays, because our house help doesn't come in, I'm the one who kind of has to feed the dog and so on. And I think our dog was not well, so he hadn't had his dinner last night, so it was still in his plate. So I told my son, I said, can you please, throw it out? He said, aren't you going to eat it? Because I hate throwing out food.
Yeah.
I think this is a mother thing.
It is. An Indian mother thing.
Yeah. So like that, he always has like some witty remark at the tip of his tongue.
I wonder where he gets it from, Doc. You've got one kid, yeah?
Yeah.
And that's a picture of Drew. He's a handsome kid on the screen. The other one is the little. Is that the dog you still have?
No, that's Pixie.
Oh, that's an older dog.
We have Kulfi now, who's a spaniel.
That is a very handsome family, I must say. That's
and sometimes Kulfi is the only living creature in our home that all of us love because we can't stand each other at certain points in time, and that's when we need the forgiveness.
You always laugh, and even Lewis, whenever you see him, he's such a character, but he's always happy. He's always got a smile on his face. I wave at to him once in a while. You all have a beautiful restaurant in Panjim, and it's known as Cafe Venite. But you mentioned another name?
Hospedaria, which is actually a Portuguese word for inn.
Oh, okay.
And my father-in-law and mother-in-law had started it in 1955. However, later on, after liberation, like people thought Hospedaria meant hospital. So then it was called Hotel Venite, but now it's back to its Hospedaria.
Is it back to?
And it's
it's back to that,
iconic place. That's where I first set my eyes on
Lewis.
Yeah.
Hey. Hey. It's an absolute landmark. It's an iconic building up in Panjim, across next to where the petrol pump is. Cafe Venite is famous. So whenever you go there, you will see Lewis, and I bump into him on a rare occasion. But there's another character. You got married 40 years ago. You guys have been together 48 years.
Yes.
He's a big part. Obviously, you just mentioned he's your PhD in.
No. Dhruv is my PhD in parenting.
Yeah. Your son's a PhD in parenting, okay?
He's given me my PhD. I mean, I'm still doing it. I haven't passed because he is a brutal guide.
Wow.
Yeah.
You mentioned, and I'm going to get right back into it because it's such a difficult field. It's something so hard to understand. Obviously, you have doctors that can cure sick patients. But when it comes to mental health, and it's a word that people they're embarrassed to talk about it. Mental health is so important in our society, and people don't take it seriously enough. Everybody, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm this, I'm that. I'll tomorrow, next week, next month. Yes, medical health, physical health, yes, but emotional and mental health is equally important. You've got to take care of yourself before you can take care of other people.
Absolutely.
You've got a lot of people that these words that I'm speaking about, ADHD and autism and people with special needs. Autism is the disease. It's a spectrum, right? It's a spectrum.
Yeah, it's a condition.
It's a condition.
Yeah. In fact, you know how many of these have the D at the end, the disorder.
Yeah.
That comes from the medical model, which is based on deficits. So what's wrong?
Yeah.
And you have this pattern of symptoms, and then it becomes a disorder.
Yeah.
However, I think, of course, a lot of the rights and the benefits and so on are based on using these names.
Yeah.
At the same time, to understand the condition, as you said, mental health, mental well-being is something that is important for everybody, correct? Now, for many reasons, maybe your mental health gets affected and you may have a level of, say, symptoms or suffering, which can be classified as a disorder. And there definitely you need treatment. Mm-hmm. At the same time, it's not just medication. It is a whole life approach.
Yeah.
And people are so much more than their symptoms. And it's also what is your participation in life around you? For example, I may take some medication which totally removes my symptoms, but at the same time, I can't function. I cannot, stay awake. I'm walking around feeling confused. That's not treatment. right? So it's important that whatever the treatment is or whatever the plan of intervention is, it's collaborative. And this is something, again, we practice at Sethu, which is nothing is done to people, but with them.
Yeah.
And especially when we're working with teenagers, because very often teenagers, they're under a lot of stress. And, it comes from different sources. And it definitely kind of needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes for families, it's very hard. They're worried. They themselves are stressed out. And because there's a lot of emotional turmoil, what parents, put out as help is actually rejected and, because it's seen as control and so on, right? So when a family with a teenager comes to us, from the get-go, I let them know that the process will be collaborative. So nothing to your child, but everything with them. And it takes time because we want a relationship of trust. And if the parents have brought that young person to me, that means I'm perceived as someone on the parent side and probably against the child.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm an agent of the parent. Oh, wow. So I have to work taking both the parents and the child into account. But for me, because I believe in the expertise of lived experience, I need to be able to create that space where the child or the young person can really trust me, and they need to know that I'm genuinely interested in what they're going through, what they want for themselves, what they don't want for themselves. And for that, I have to have compassionate curiosity. I don't judge them, because sometimes, and I'm a parent, so I'm very conscious that it's something that I have done. Like, I may have asked my child, like, what do you want? And my child says, oh, I don't want to go to school. And I say, what do you mean you don't want to go to school? How can you not go to school?
Yeah.
My child's not going to trust me to
Absolutely.
say what they want, right? Because they say, oh, I'll say it, and then you'll use that to hit me on the head.
Absolutely.
So making sure that whatever is given to me, I treat it with respect and tell me more. I don't want to go to school. Okay, thanks for telling me. Tell me more. Help me understand.
Brilliant.
Why you don't want to go to school.
Cause and effect. There's got to be a reason.
I need to find out what is it that school represents for that particular child.
Absolutely.
And how, if it's something which is hostile, the environment, right? There's always a reason. There's always a logical reason why someone is doing something.
Yeah.
It's just that you can't assume it just by looking at that person. And if together we can find that, we can change it.
Yeah.
Of course we can change it. Maybe we can't make it perfect, but we can definitely find ways to make that unpleasant situation
bearable.
Better. Yes.
That's where the educators, that's where knowledge, that's where education comes into play, because it's the whole comprehensive, holistic approach, which is amazing. But that's why I salute parents that put in so much time and effort into trying to figure out these little young tykes. And as they grow up and they get older and older, Doc, you've got to earn their trust. You can't be an agent for the parents. You've got to earn their trust to be able to help them out. And that's a lot of work. That's probably hard to do.
Actually, not that much work, because as I said, we just have to create that environment. Actually, we don't have to extract anything from the child, because most children are telling us, if we just have to pause and listen, and sometimes we have to observe, because they're telling us with their behavior, right? So rather than judge that behavior, I need to have that curiosity. Hey, okay, I noticed this happened. Help me understand what was going on. And
wow.
And when we explore behavior, we're actually dipping into feelings and thinking. And that's what we call actually the cognitive triangle. Behavior is like a tip of the iceberg, but it's what I'm feeling inside, what I'm thinking inside, which then dictates my behavior.
Yeah. There's Doc, but you mentioned that there's different, it's not only ADHD and autism and stuff like that. Down syndrome, are all of these different, you wouldn't be able to tell at a very young person what the ailment is. How do you identify, obviously autism as a spectrum, but how do you identify what a child has? Obviously they come and spend time with you, but does it get better when they become young adults? Are they able to cope? The mechanism gets, how does that work?
So we have this wonderful quality in all our brains, which is neuroplasticity.
Okay.
So neuroplasticity means that experience can shape how we function, how we develop, right?
Yeah.
So everyone has that potential to, to develop, to learn, right? And there's one point I want to make here, that no child needs to prove themselves, in the sense that only if they can do this, that means they become valuable. That is something we have to be wary of in the field of disability, because there is this kind of, only talking about people who have achieved, like disabled people who have done something.
Yeah.
Right. And it's definitely worth celebrating. At the same time, there are a lot of disabled children and people who are living their lives quietly.
Yeah.
Their parents are, giving them the best, doing their best. They're struggling, and they are also important.
Absolutely.
So every child, regardless of who they are, they all belong. And we must make sure that we respect who they are and give them the environment, give them the love, give them the support, the care. And if it's something that the government has to give, make sure that they get that, the financial benefits, the educational benefits, because they have a right to participate. Absolutely. Just like anybody else.
I firmly believe, I actually agree. You got to give them the best opportunity to survive. They're going to be young adults, and then they're going to be grown-ups and adults. You've got to give them the best opportunity to do whatever to the best of your ability to be able to survive in this world. We're going to come to the government part of the equation. There's a lot of stuff that I want to ask you about. The education system. The reason I was talking about healthcare. I'm a big fan of Dr. Peter Castellina, who always always spoke so much, Joanne, about mental health, human.
Yes.
And people don't like to admit when there's problem. I have issues all the time. You still complain about me.
I know I do. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I?
I can't believe it. 18 years of marriage, and she still tells me I have mental health issues. But in the West, they're so used to going to a psychiatrist and medication and this and that and the other. I love the fact. Is it commonplace, or is it something that you'll do at Sethu where you'll actually want to understand what the underlying problems rather than jump straight to the medication place?
Well, I mean, as I said, understanding has to come first. That comes from your compassionate curiosity. Of course, we also do standard assessments, take a lot of history information from parents, from teachers, if possible, because we don't know the child. We haven't spent any time with the child when they first come to us. So it's important to get, a multifaceted kind of report from all the other people, the experts who are around the child. And then we ask parents this. See, making a diagnosis, yes, it's important. It's important for us, for sure, as professionals. However, what difference is it going to make for the child? And we know that development progresses. So when it's a very young child, we ask parents, like, do you just want help? Do you just want advice or guidance to know how to help your child? Or do you want a diagnosis? Or do you want both? Yeah. Right? Because I think it's the parents' right to decide. Quite often, parents will say both. So, okay, great. So this is, we'll explain to them. Sometimes parents say, just tell me how to help my child. And we'll do that.
Sorry, Doc, can anybody come to Sethu?
Oh, yes.
Anybody's welcome.
0 to 19 years.
0 to 19?
Yes.
Is the age of the child.
The age of the child, right. But we do have families who come because the child is not yet willing to come, and that's absolutely fine.
So the parents can come in advance?
The parents can come on behalf of their child, because we don't want the children to be dragged there. And we always tell parents, don't tell your child lies and say, I'm taking you to see my friend. Or, this very nice lady, she's very sweet, and then they see me, this witch-looking creature.
Listen to you.
So anyway, like, it's okay. Don't force your child. Don't tell them lies. and you come.
Get the help you need.
Yeah,
Doc,
you come.
very, very, very distinct question. How expensive is it? Is it expensive to come to Sethu?
So we do charge fees.
Yes.
Because we have to run. We
Operate. You'll have to
keep
operate.
the lights on. Yes, but no child is turned away because they can't pay the fees.
Yeah.
So we have sponsorship schemes, and if everybody is seen.
Brilliant.
And money should never ever be the reason why a child doesn't receive.
As it should be, even with medical health at a hospital, when you need to go and get urgent medical help, you should never be turned away. I'm asking these questions because I guarantee you there's a lot of people out there that might listen and question these couple of things. Is it okay if I go to Sethu? Is it open to everybody? Is it religious? Is it this, that, and the other? Anybody's welcome there. And money's not the do all end all. Yes, obviously you need to generate a revenue to pay the bills and keep the lights on, but people can get help. People can have subsidies.
Oh, yes.
We're going to get more into these. We're going to ask some more probing questions. Ajoy, you were saying something to me.
No, actually.
Okay. I want to get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Merv Britto Show. There are comments coming. We're going to read some comments. You can get in touch with us. This is an interactive show. We're speaking to the one and only Dr. Nandita DeSouza, one of the founders of Sethu. She's been kind enough to join us on the show this week for International Women's Day, which we're so thrilled, and I'm breaking all the rules and I'm forgetting all the stuff that I'm supposed to do. You can get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. Earlier, I mentioned the social media handles which are on the screen again, but I forgot to mention the telephone number. You can get in touch with us, 7507-246-246. We'd love to hear from you. People have been sending a load of messages in, and people will probably try to call in. Ajo, we'll take a couple of calls a little bit later. I want to get into a different phase of the show where a different phase of the show where I'm going to ask Doc some other questions about the development, where Sethu is today. You started off this organization that has been absolutely legendary here in Goa. Is this something, by the way, that is throughout India? Is Sethu only an organization here, or can anybody anywhere in India go to a Sethu?
No, Sethu is. There are other organizations called Sethu elsewhere in India, but Sethu Centre for Child Development and Family Guidance is just in Goa, and we're going to make it stay that way because we are not like a franchise where, we want a branch here, there, everywhere. Yeah. For us, Sethu is a bridge. I think what we do is very simple. When people say that, it's like you're saying, it's so great. Okay, but it's simple. It's not rocket science. And what we want is people anywhere can do it. So we are very big on training. Our team at Sethu, I really want to shout out.
Put some pictures. I want some pictures on the screen. I saw.
Team, they are the best.
They're fabulous.
Besides working together, we dance together. We have a lot of fun. Yesterday, in fact, because today is a Sunday, the 5 wonderful men at Sethu, they're hugely outnumbered. They're minority.
Are they?
And poor things,
Is that the team right there?
Yes.
I know Andre. There's Andre Velio. There's you in the center.
Oh, I can see Giselle in there. Look, on the bottom right.
Oh, yeah. This is an old picture.
Cousin Giselle.
Yeah, that's when we first moved to Saligaon.
Amazing.
Yeah, we have an amazing team. And it's very women-centric, as you can see. Yeah. And a lot of my teammates are moms. We even have moms who are parents to disabled children. And, it's so wonderful to have their voices on our team. Because, as I said, we are strengths-based, neuro-affirming, family-centered. Mm-hmm. So, again, nothing about us without us, right? So we must have parents of kids with disabilities who can tell us what's the best way to do things.
I was reading the diaries earlier as well.
Right.
Because some of the people that work with you, like you say, have got children with those needs also. Yes.
And
it's nice to have those honest, insights.
Absolutely. They're the experts of families. And we even have like online parent support groups where, we have hundreds of parents on the support group.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, sometimes the first step for parents to, come out of that seclusion.
The embarrassment, the fear.
Yes, because a parent talking to another parent, say a parent of an autistic child talking to another parent, they really get it because they have been through it. And when their kids have grown, they have seen that life cycle, right? What it is like when they go to preschool, high school, or get a job and so on. So they can really give the hope and the encouragement to the parents who are starting out on that journey.
They understand.
They understand, because I don't have an autistic child, right? So I can never say I understand to a parent of an autistic child. And I should not be arrogant to think that I understand. At the same time, they can help me understand, and I can, together with them, find ways in which to enrich their lives, to get resources to the child. Because, and that's exactly what I say. It's not rocket science. We're all together in this. And why we want to stay Goa-centric in our work, though we do training for people across India, is because I really think in Goa we are blessed with our networks, with our education, with our kind of freedom of speech to a large extent still, right? And because I think that connection is very strong in Goa. And you can be authentic. Like for me, I live my life exactly how I want to live it. I don't live it because I am a doctor or because I can go anywhere in my rubber chappals and I will be as respected and as loved. I don't have to drive a certain car. You know how? Because I just have no patience with that. I don't have to circulate in certain...
But that's what people love you. That's why people love you, Doc.
But you can live like that in Goa.
Yeah.
Right? And I think for most Goans, it is like that. So we have the ability, I feel, to connect with each other and to really have a movement for Goa where we can change the story of disability from one of gloom to one of bloom.
Oh, I like that.
Seriously
one of gloom
this.
to bloom.
We can do this together, and we have to do it together because it's not on the child, it's not on the family, it's not on an organization like Sethu. It is together. Because whether you're an employer, you are an advocate, you are, a businessman, you have a role.
It can affect everybody too, right?
And you can do something in order to make the world more accepting, more inclusive, where everybody belongs.
But that's what I was going to ask you, Doc. I love the fact that y'all are here in Goa close by, and y'all focus on Goa because y'all love this place so much, but there are kids born everywhere around the world. But in India, I hope there are more places where people can go and get the help, identify the needs. People like you, Anjali, Andre Velio, my cousin comes to mind, Giselle comes to mind, or so understated. You guys do absolutely the stuff that a lot of people wouldn't be able to do. Phenomenal work. And you sell yourselves.
It's an honor and a privilege, please.
You keep saying that.
It is.
But I love that about you because you're very understated.
Not me, I'm telling you, we love our work. We are so privileged.
Is there somebody on the phone? Hello.
Giselle's on the phone, by the way.
Hello. Yay.
Who the heck is Giselle? Giselle DeSouza.
Hey,
Cousin.
I'm calling to speak to Wonder Woman. I heard this was the phone number for that. Am I right?
Yes, indeed.
Giselle Marie DeSouza calling in from New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen,
That is my Devi.
You're tuned into the Merv Britto Show. You can get in touch with anybody, anywhere around the world, and here is proof. Giselle, thank you so much. Here, you're on the line. You're on the air right now, and you've got Nandita's attention.
Oh my goodness,
As I said,
Devi, you're going to make me cry, Giselle.
Hi.
Where's my tissue?
My God. Just hearing you say everything that we always worked for, dear Nandu, and what we stand for, what we believe in. It never changes, right? It's always the same, and
Absolutely.
you are the epitome
So you please
of
tell your cousin
everything.
what an honor and a privilege it is, and how blessed we are, because he's telling me I'm very great and I'm not.
Giselle, you worked with Nandu for many, many years, yeah? And everybody respects and admires you guys for what you all did. Y'all are so, all of you, Anjali, and it's only the people that I know in Sethu, Anjali and Andre Velio, Giselle Lobo, Dr. Nandita, and all these kind of people, Louis, her husband, you all are so understated, but you don't don't realize what a valuable this thing you provide.
It's a gift. It's a gift.
But it's a noble tradition. What a valuable commodity you provide for people here in Goa. You did this for many years. You worked very closely with Dr. Nandita. Tell me some of the stuff that you're seeing now that you're in the States. You're in Jersey. You got a PhD. You did a lot of work with Nandu. What are the differences between what you all actually did here in Goa compared to what you're seeing now?
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to every single parent that we've worked with in Goa, because parents in Goa are superwomen, supermen. They do everything. They work for their kids, they advocate for their kids, they teach their kids. In the States, the big difference is there is so much that is provided by the system, by the government. So parents are not running ragged as they do in Goa. And so a shout out to all my parents who are trying to organize, residential homes for their kids, who are trying to organize vocational training for their kids. It's amazing. And Nandu, I think you would agree with me on that.
Absolutely. I mean, the parents are really the true heroes. And, they do it sometimes with very little help. They are the 24/7 first responders. Can you imagine being 24/7, 365 first responder? And that's why I say, but what we do is, it's an honor and a privilege to be of some service, to work together, to collaborate, because we are living with true soldiers, and they're changing the world. These kids are changing the world.
Yeah, but Doc, think about the alternative. Think about what if you guys weren't doing what you did, and the scary thought about how these poor people would try to figure out lives, and the parents would try and figure out what was wrong with their kids. So yes, I absolutely admire the fact that y'all are so modest. You all provide such a valuable training to parents to understand their children, to people in general that want to learn about these things that might affect other people. People are welcome to come in. Giselle, you work there. What are some of the things that you learned? And you moved to Goa, by the way, many, many years ago, because you actually wanted to immerse yourself, and you learned with Dr. Nandita, right? What are some of the examples,
That's right.
I'm saying, some of the examples that you would take that in all the years you worked with Dr. Nandu, that are things that you have to have this kind of a service, you have to have these people doing this job?
You're saying something that we have to do?
Yeah.
You learned what you learned together.
What did we learn? Okay. I think Nandu said it, but I'm going to say it again. I think listening to the parent's story and understanding the child is crucial. And if I have like a minute, I'll just share with you. When I first started, I'm talking about in 1991, when I became a teacher, I thought I was the boss. I thought I knew everything. I came in, I told the parents, listen, your child has autism. This is what you have to do with your child, and ABCD. As I grew, I learned that I'm sorry, it's the parent that will tell me what the child is all about.
Wow.
And only when I understand the child can I suggest something that the parent and the child will benefit from.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
So true. And in fact, thank you, Giselle, for saying that, because when parents often come to us, they don't know their power. They feel overwhelmed. They feel hopeless. They feel they're doing it all wrong. They feel judged, and they come to us helpless, and they say, please tell us what to do.
Yes.
What should I do? And just like Giselle, before I would tell them what to do, tell them 100 things to do, because I thought I was the so-called expert. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, you live, you learn.
Yeah.
And now what I tell them, I said, I don't know what to tell you, but you know what? I am 100% sure we'll figure it out together. Yeah. Why? Because I'm talking to the experts. It's as simple as that.
Zell, I want to ask you quickly, in the States, you have a lot more medications that are given to kids to calm them down, and you got medications, the end all do all is the answer for everything, yeah? The difference between an organization like Sethu here in Goa compared to the States, where you have help, where you got care afforded to you by the system, it is so much more hands-on here compared to the U.S., correct?
Well, that's a yes and no, because I believe that like every single organization, every single system, you have caring people and you have people who take the trouble to understand the child and do it one step at a time. And then you have organizations or government systems which just ride roughshod. There are amazing stories in the US of places like Sethu, of doctors like Sethu, who take the trouble to know the child, understand the child. Just like in Goa itself, you will have stories of kids who are over-medicated and, who people just don't understand. So I wouldn't put such a broad, stroke across everything and say that it's so black and white. But given the systems, we hear a lot more about kids who are medicated almost immediately. And, so we tend to think that. But I wouldn't paint it with such a broad stroke.
Not as drastic, yeah? Because
yeah.
You've got parents that are willing, like Indian parents that are willing to do anything for their children will do, but you've got to understand and educate yourself to figure out what the problem is. It's not about going to a doctor and getting medication to calm your kid down.
Exactly.
Everything's ADHD. It is understanding, and there's so many different, like Nanda was just saying about the spectrum, this ADHD, autism, and all these different things that are happening here. We don't have. A lot of times parents are embarrassed. They don't want to speak to the neighbors. They don't want the neighbor to see the kid and blah, blah, blah. There are so many hang-ups that people have here. And until you get over these things and understand that it's not a problem, it's something that can be understood, you can work with the child, you can work with the parents, and you have to have people feel that trust to want to come to you experts.
So I would, in the past, maybe I would judge parents, like, why aren't you doing this? Or, why are you doing that? Now I have learned to keep an open mind and ask parents to explain to me. So, for example, one of the things I used to always say we had made a diagnosis, you should inform the school and the teachers so that they know the reason for your child's strengths as well as their struggles, and they don't blame the child. And quite often the parent would say, no, we don't want to share the diagnosis with the school. And I would say, it's good that they know, otherwise they'll blame you or they'll blame the child. But now I say, thank you for telling me. Help me understand why you don't want to share the diagnosis.
Yeah. Wow.
And I always learn something that makes perfect sense. I mean, I'm telling you, it's just one question, help me understand, is like, it's a door to really knowing that person, because we are very intelligent people. We make decisions based on our experience.
Yeah.
Nobody can assume or presume from the outside. Mm-hmm. We can, but as they say, if you assume, it makes an ass
out of you and me.
You and me.
Speaking of asses, come on, tell me something, mate.
No. I just want to say that
Thanks, Giselle.
a few people have messaged.
Stay on the phone. You're not going anywhere. Stay on the phone, Sal. Go on.
A few people have. Yeah, go ahead.
No, Ajay, go on, you message. Read the message quickly.
So Kimberly Dyer says, we need to clone her, as in Nandita. And in addition, we have Shanisa Britto saying, Doc, you are inspiring leader. Sorry. And there are a few messages coming in right now. So thank you so much for messaging.
We'll read them. We'll read them out more.
Okay. And the next message, just a second. Is thank you, Dr. Nandita. Thank you, Sethu, for touching so many lives and for making that difference. You are our rock stars, our guiding stars. We love you all. Special mention to Anjali.
Oh,
This is from Venite D'Souza.
So if they get a round of applause, there's going to be more message. Listen, we're going to come back to that.
Thank you to all the parents who trust us. Honestly, it's
that's
no words for them.
Because the thing is, what I wanted to say as well, because
And you got Giselle on the phone. Say something.
I know. Well, Giselle, I was just saying when Dr. Nandita arrived, I said, I haven't seen you since Giselle left. This is a travesty. We've missed all the sing-songs and all of the Christmas caroling and everything.
Yeah.
It's so sad not to have you here.
Absolutely.
Merv, I actually wanted to touch on something you said. Can I speak?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Knock yourself.
do.
Go on.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned how parents, the way that people want to hide their kids. They're ashamed to talk about it. Nandu, you said that, and this is what I want to say is, one of the reasons that we came back to India was for that, the concept of inclusive education. Because when you had kids being part of the mainstream schools, parents, children, everybody, there's no need for hiding, there's no need for shame. We create these welcoming communities. And I still remember some of the older students telling me after they came to the resource room and interacted with my students, they said, "Ma'am, now when we go back to our home, we are not going to make fun of such children in the village," which is what we used to do. I had parents coming and telling me, now I understand what these children, how they learn, and how important it is for us to welcome them. So the inclusive education is one of the best ways in which we eliminate or decrease the stigma that goes with disability. I just wanted to put that out there.
And in fact, I want to give a shout out to Giselle, because for me, she's the goddess of inclusion. Honestly, I mean, call her my Devi, because she's the one who, at the beginning, single-handedly set that into motion. Okay, and not just inclusion, which means dumping, like kids are just part of the classroom and nobody cares what's happening. As long as they don't create a ruckus, it's okay. But creating schools of true belonging. Because, you know, if we don't change our environments and we don't remove, if anything needs to be fixed, it's not people who need to be fixed. It's attitudes which need to be fixed. It's environments which need to be fixed. And it's not difficult to do. Yes, there will be challenges, but it comes from a philosophy that this is a value that we must have for our society. And if we come from there, the rest is just actions and ideas and, you know, some ramps or whatever, you know, infrastructure. But it has to come from a philosophy that this, I believe it can be done. I believe it is the right thing. And then you'll find a way to do it. And the policies in India, we have fantastic disability policies. They just have to be implemented.
And people have to know about them, Doc. People need to know about them, make people more aware of their schemes out there.
People who need to implement them do know, whether it's in the schools or it is in the institutions, but very often it's tokenism. It's just done for the sake, like employment. Yes, there's recruitment, 4% is shown, but nobody talks about retention. Nobody talks about career development. Nobody talks about, you know, changing systems, work schedules, or work environments, attitudes of people who are working together. It's a whole package. It can't be just one thing. But sometimes when you do that one thing, it sets into motion other things also.
Chain effect.
So yes, I mean, that's why I say it has to be a movement. We need an army of people who welcome neurodiversity, all kinds of diversity, and believe that everyone has a place in society. We all have a right to belong. And the environment where we can all develop to our greatest potential and really show the world what we are capable of.
I've got two questions. I'm going to ask Giselle really quickly. Giselle, although you claim not to be the boss, or when you thought initially, when you started doing this, you were the boss, ask Ashley, Vicki, and George, and they'll tell you otherwise. You know what I'm saying? You're still trying to be the sheriff of that town in Jersey. You know what I mean?
Listen, I mean, that is like, you know, I'm the one true one at home. Let's be clear about it. Was the boss and still am the boss.
I'm sure Ashley's not around, because he'd have
it's
a different...
It's Women's Day, Mervyn. Remember that.
It is, exactly.
Zell, what is the difference, right? One of the biggest difference. I'm going to ask you two quick questions. What are the biggest difference, Goa and Jersey, where you are, what you're doing? What is the biggest difference with mental health, or what you were able to do when you were in Goa compared to what is happening now in the States?
So, you know, I'll give you a little kind of visual. They say when you come to work in, at least when I came back to work in Goa, it was like building a car. Okay, I built that car, which I then drove. But in the States right now in Jersey, I'm just driving a car that somebody else built. Okay. The difference is the systems over here are so strong. Okay, and they addressed a lot of the issues. So you become part of the system. Right now, I'm in a wonderful school, which has a very, very good system, but they are open to new ideas. And that is what defines for me, okay, having a good system, that you've built something, it's in place, but you're open to new ideas. Now, if you were to ask me the difference in terms of mental health, that's where I can say that attitudes over here are so much more open. I mean, in my school, I was a little taken aback that people just say, oh, you know what, I've got an appointment with my therapist this evening, or, I'll be coming in a little late because I have, people just say that so casually. They talk about their mental health issues, and it's not stigmatized. It's not stigmatized. So that's the very, very big difference over here. People are a lot more open about it.
And this is something that when we first moved here, we noticed such a huge difference, because over there, everything is so commonplace. People talk about it. You want to get the help. You need to get these problems resolved. You go to the experts. Over here, it's not talked about as much, and people are more embarrassed. And that's the sad part. And that's why I love what you guys did, what you guys are doing, continue to do. Giselle, it's Women's Day. Yes. If you could give a shout out or make a wish on International Women's Day, you got the mic right now.
All right. So my wish for Women's Day, and I've thought about this, so much, so I know exactly what I'm going to say, is I believe that women can empower themselves, but I believe that the men in their lives, okay, they are equally instrumental in helping women shine. And I think creating awareness among men as to the importance of women being equal, that is equally important.
Absolutely.
You married a guy that gave you that opportunity, that allowed you, that enabled you that opportunity to come and do what you were passionate about. Ashley Lobo is a star. It is. You
Merv,
guys are, yeah.
I just want to give that biggest shout out to my husband. Thanks for bringing him up. I know without him, there's no way I would have been able to come back to Goa and do what I did. That man epitomizes what I was saying. That old saying is, to be behind every successful man stands a good woman, and in my life it's the opposite. My husband Ashley, the greatest man.
He is. No, I know him very well. He's a rock star. He was so cool and laid back. His personality is just that way about what
Still
you
is.
did. And are you happy? Are you happy being in Jersey, or are you missing us here in Goa? The sing songs.
My heart is in Goa. Let there be no confusion about that. If I won the lottery, I'd be back there. Let me tell you that. Goa for me, number one.
Just buy that lottery ticket, Giselle. We're all praying for you. The whole of Goa.
and one message for Nandu and the people at Sethu, one message in all the time that you work with them. She got emotional just talking to you, Giz. One message for them before you go.
Sethu, but Nandu, the pillars of one of my pillars of my work over there. What you all do, Nandu, you don't need me to say this, but I'm saying it on air. What you do is unique in Goa. You have transformed the lives of so many people. Just keep rocking. That's all I'm saying.
Honored and privileged and blessed.
And she's getting emotional again. Giselle Marie D'Souza, my cousin, I love you. Thank you so much. You made it so much more fun.
Thank you, man.
Great to speak to you.
Really nice to talk to you. We miss you guys. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And until next time, adios.
Love.
Thanks, Giselle.
Adios.
Go back
Bye.
to sleep.
Thank you, Nandu.
She and that's my cousin Giselle. She's in New Jersey, and her husband enabled her come and work with you here, Nandu. You got emotional after all of this time, and these people that have made such a huge effect and had such an effect on your life, but you don't realize what a major effect you have on the people that are around you, that you touch and you've trained, and it's like a ripple effect. You and people like you, Anjali, all these kind of people, the ripple effect when you throw a stone in a pond and then the ripple effect just keeps going out. It is so nice for today and all the future generation of children that might have whatever spectrum it may be, to be able to come to people like you to get the help, to the experts like you. So you do something that is really valuable in society. And I hope, my prayer is that all around, just not Goa, but all around India, there were more places like Sethu. I want to touch quickly on your website. Listen, I'm sure there's people out there that want to be able to help and get involved, and if they want to come and learn from you, but also to donate. Joanne, you had mentioned about the bridge. Sethu's a bridge, but you had mentioned that yesterday on the site. There's a place. Talk about that more, please.
I mean, basically, I remember you could buy a brick when you were first advocating.
Speak more about that so people know about it.
New property, and I know that property is well underway now. So I wanted to ask you, how is it doing? How near is it to completion? And obviously, I'm sure that funding is always welcomed.
Yes.
So we'd like to read.
How do you generate that? Speak about that.
Right.
I want to see it on the website. Can you put that up on the screen for me, please?
So the new building, which is coming up in Giri, that's been a dream project for us. We are working from a very nice premises now, but it's not disabled friendly. It is. It's not built on universal design. So this new center is based on the principles of universal design. So we have everything: the lifts, the tactile flooring, lovely kind of classrooms, as well as areas where children can play. And
custom built, actually what you're doing.
Yes, on UDL principles.
How do people get involved, and how can you donate money? I remember Joanne showed me some button, a green button.
That you green button on there to donate.
Right, so we have this buy a brick, and you can buy a brick or more. We are almost in the final stages. The grey structure is up. It's more the interiors now. And it's really going to be a place where all children feel welcome, as well as the families. We're going to have enough space to do a lot of training, to do hearing and vision assessments.
Wow.
And hopefully even employ more neurodivergent people, because we do not have a person who's hearing impaired or who's visually impaired, or a person who's a wheelchair user on our staff. And honestly, I think that would be amazing, because then our own accessibility would improve.
Brilliant.
So yeah, we're so excited about this, and this is something that people have done. When we started off, we had nothing at all, and it's largely funded through crowdfunding, as well as now people have made like legacy donations and donated so that a certain room may be pledged in the memory of one of their loved ones. And the interesting thing is, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, one of my cousins from Canada was visiting, and she had her granddaughter with her who's like 13 months, and I took her to see the center because she was one of the donors. And when we walked in, the little baby was so excited, like it's not even ready. She just, her eyes lit up and she said, "Dada, dada, dada, dada." I said, oh my goodness, she's the first baby who's come in here and she has spoken and approved of this place.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be amazing once it's ready. So much to do, and so hopeful that we really start a movement where everybody comes together for children to make this world a place, to make Goa, let's start with Goa, to make Goa a place where every child is nurtured and celebrated.
In your own backyard.
As they are.
Yeah.
And given a chance to participate and thrive. And that's why they're doomed to, or gloom to bloom, because it is so
amazing.
doable. Yeah.
And also, because the thing is, I think a lot of your cut through and success comes from the fact that you are so understated and you are so modest. And obviously you and Giselle also were both mentioning the fact that, at first you might have thought, well, I know best. I'm going to tell you what I feel is the best thing for you to do. But the great thing is you're talking in such a way that it's a privilege. We're learning, we're developing, we're growing along with
smarter.
the families.
I think we become smarter, honestly.
Yes,
yeah, because, the more you kind of learn, you realize how much you don't know. And as I said, every person has an innate knowledge and lived experience, which is a gold mine.
Yeah.
And in fact, I like to compare it to coal and diamonds. Like, how do you get diamonds?
Yeah.
Like, where do diamonds come from?
Where do they start from? Yeah.
From coal.
Yeah.
Like, coal looks nothing like diamonds. And how do diamonds get made? Coal under a lot of pressure.
Yes.
So that's life. The more pressure you go through, of course it sucks. I'm not saying everyone should, go through a lot of pressure, but to realize that there is so much of richness of experience and understanding of oneself, which can be given the support to flower.
Yeah.
And Merv, you were talking about mental health and mental
Yes.
well-being. I mean, I'd like to speak about this. We've not mentioned it much.
You can speak about it. You can continue speaking. I've got to see all these. They've got the website open right now, and there's a button in the top right. I don't know if you've seen it in the top right-hand corner. Scroll up for me. You can press this button to donate. If anybody wants to get involved and you've heard what we've been speaking about, where's that button? I saw it a little bit.
Top right-hand.
Top right-hand corner. Is that the top? There's another button. There it is, right on the top in the green. Yeah. So you've been listening to us speak, and there's a way that you can get involved, and I think it's brilliant. If you don't have the time or the inclination, and you just want to be able to help them out, get involved. There's a website, the Sethu website. You can find it online. Doc, talk about more about mental health, by the way.
Right. So I mentioned in passing that I have ADHD. Right. So I want to talk a little bit about that story.
Sure.
So I self-identified at the age of 60, and I'm supposed to be the expert.
Wow.
Okay.
You're not past 60, come on.
Are you 60?
I'm 65 and a half.
Are you?
No way.
Yes.
You've got
You're
amazing genes.
And we ain't talking about those kind of Levi's jeans. I'm talking about proper jeans. I didn't know. Sorry, I'm not embarrassing. You're 65 years old.
Yeah.
Wow, Nandu. Okay, you're very young looking. You diagnosed yourself with ADHD.
Well, I didn't diagnose myself, but you should never diagnose yourself. You should identify.
Okay.
Right. And the thing is, that's ADHD for you, especially ADHD in women. So my son has ADHD, and I diagnosed him when he was around 12 or so. And we know it's highly genetic. So when your child has ADHD, it's obviously the father, right? That's what I thought for decades. And I mean, the literature, there's very little bit about ADHD in girls and women. You always, think about little boys bouncing off the walls and so on and so forth, and the hyperactivity part. So the thing is, ADHD in girls and women goes underground. And you don't see the external overactivity. It's more emotional reactivity.
Say that again. I don't know. You always have them publicized about boys and ADHD. Women with ADHD are?
So women, ADHD is also seen in girls and women, but it slips under the radar because girls and women don't present with hyperactivity. They're not out of their seats. But there is the emotional intensity.
Okay.
And that's the reason why I cry so easily.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it affects differently.
So ADHD is an interest-based brain with intense emotions. The name attention deficit, I hate the name. It's a misnomer because we don't have attention deficit. If we are passionate about something, we have hyper focus. Nothing can stop us. We can be like 10 hours doing something which you're interested in, thinking that just an hour has passed. So it's an interest-based brain with intense emotions.
But it's ADHD.
Well, that's the name. It's attention regulation, actually, not attention deficit. So that's one thing which I want to kind of emphasize about, right? This is not new what I'm saying, but it's not very much known. So for girls and women, we have a lot of emotional intensity. And very often girls and women are misdiagnosed with other mental health conditions like anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder even, rather than ADHD. And the key struggle in ADHD is what we call executive functioning deficits, which is all the psychological functions that I need to do today, to use today in order to reach my goals in the future. So those are things like your attention regulation, self awareness, impulse control, cognitive flexibility, flexible thinking, working memory, keeping things in my head as I'm working on them, time management. So for girls and women, in fact, how did I come to know? It's because during COVID, there was lockdown and we went online. And we had a lot of girls almost self-referring themselves.
Wow.
And because they had these problems with attention, they couldn't go to school, all the structures just collapsed. I started reading more about ADHD in girls and women. And then as I'm reading, literally like, ping, there's a light bulb that goes on in my head. And because I was masking to such an extent that even from myself, people thought of me, and I thought of myself as a very organized person, someone who's kind of very methodical.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Inside, there's a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
I present myself. I have lists. I have to-do lists like everywhere. And every list will have 20 things on it. And 18 of those 20 things are also on tomorrow's list. And if it's boring is torture for me. I don't have an importance-based brain. I have an interest-based brain. So I know it is important.
Wow.
I know I have to do it. I know how to do it. I want to do it. But it is boring. I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Wow. And this is from an expert.
That's what you mean.
This is from an expert, dude. But that's so strange because there's we always talk about these special needs that affect young people and people in the developmental stages. There's a lot of adults, when you talk about mental health, that have just let things go and they just, I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that.
And you can be tired.
But
Doc, you can be tired.
There's nothing wrong with going to see a specialist.
No.
Because like you said,
not.
even
because if something can, if there's a barrier in your life, right?
Yeah.
First of all, you're trying the best that you possibly can. I want everyone to know this. At any given point in time, each of us is trying the best that we possibly can in that context, given our set of skills, given how we are feeling that day, whether we've slept or not, given our knowledge, right? All of us can do better. No doubt about it.
Extenuating circumstances.
But at that given point in time, we are doing the best that we possibly can. So, I constantly fall flat on my face in the mud. And that's the reason why I have this lovely complexion. That does it for you. But if I believe that, yes, I messed up big time, okay? But I was doing my best at that given point in time. Maybe I didn't know something, or maybe I hadn't slept enough. Okay. So when we know that we're doing the best that we possibly can, and we want to do better, we know something's in our way, which is not kind of, we are experts of ourselves. We know that there's something in our way, right? We don't judge ourselves as being bad because that thing is in our way.
Yeah.
And in ADHD, we do this all the time. In many people keep beating themselves up. That self-critical voice in your head, right? So
it's
you must.
Natural, human nature, no?
Yes, exactly. But if, you realize, okay, I'm going to do something about it, of course you can go and get help, right? So, but the thing is that first believing that you are the expert of your life, because you are. 2, knowing that you are doing the best that you possibly can. And coming from a place of self-compassion.
Give yourself a break.
Give yourself a break. Hand on heart. Sorry,
no worries.
Mic.
No worries.
Hand on heart. You know what? I was doing the best that I possibly could. It's okay. I can get help.
You're human.
I can do better. Exactly. And for me, having ADHD, that's why I shout it out from the rooftops, because for many people, they see me as this very capable person, and I am. I am. But it's because I was born to do this. I am in a profession. I feel it in my bones. This is what I was born to do. That's why I see it as a privilege.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm blessed, right? And the support that I get. I mean, I have a fantastic family, my husband, my son, my siblings, my parents, the extended family, my workmates. I mean, they're fantastic. And how I can be myself. I lose my temper. I blast somebody.
Yeah.
And they know that they don't take it personally. And of course, I realize and I apologize. I make amends. But we support each other and don't judge each other, because we believe that all of us are doing the best that we possibly can.
But you've done this over time, Doc. People trust you. People know that that's not the nasty side of Nandita, is not the side you... No, it happens to everybody. You're human.
Right.
And people have trusted you over this long a period of time because you've actually walked the walk and talked the talk. So you can have a slip up on a bad day like everybody else.
We've all got sides.
Oh my God, how many sides do you have?
And wait, I want to talk about medication also.
No, well, I want
to ask you.
I love my medication sometimes more than my husband and child. And I think they also love it more than me.
Say
because
Lewis.
Lewis is the best person. very often I forget to take my medication, right? And I'm having a discussion and biting his head off. And he says, "Did you take your medication?" I said, "No, thanks, I forgot."
Is it that obvious? Will it really?
The amazing thing is when I take my medication, my husband becomes a wonderful person. He's talking sense. He's giving me good advice. Like, how that's the amazing thing about medication.
Interesting.
And I think that's,
others also.
I think that's so important. If you're listening out there, you're human. You're going to have issues. You're going to have problems, good days and bad days. But the thing about it, I think what Dr. Nandita is trying to say is basically give yourself a break. You need to figure it out and understand what is actually happening. Don't cut yourself short. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the Merv Britto Show. We do the show every week because they're so passionate about what we do in our own backyard. We love this place we call home, which is Goa. If you want to get in touch with us, we are going to put our social media sites on the screen right now. Anywhere you get your social media, you'll get more information about what we do. You're probably live streaming. If you're live streaming this, you can see the wonderful Nandita DeSouza, Dr. Nandita DeSouza, on International Women's Day. There are a couple of comments. Audrey, I'm going to let you read a couple of comments. You want to send a couple of messages or you want to get on the show live like we do, we put people together. You can get in touch with us, 7507246. That's our live number. If you want to get in touch with us, send us a message. That's the number to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your support. We love, if you like what we do, we love to hear from you. We love you to leave a comment. But like, share, and subscribe. Tell people about the show. It's always very much appreciated. We're coming down to the end. We're almost, Doc, you were worried about it being...
I've got so many more things to add.
Quickly, I'm going to do a rapid fire round, 10 words or less. Go on, you can...
No, not 10 words.
Can let Ajoy, you want to read a couple of messages very quickly, brother?
Very quickly.
We're coming down to the end of the show.
Vivian says, Nandu was born to be on this podcast. She's a natural. I love listening to her represent the neurodivergent population. I'm so proud to be part of Sethu and under her mentorship.
Love you, Viv.
And there is also a couple of messages from Sam, Stories with Sam. They say, Nandita has always made me discover the strength I had inside me. She's one of the most empathetic professional I know. Zurika says, Dr. Nandita has given hope and helped build a support village for families like ours. Walking alongside us parents and working with strengths is truly life-changing.
Zurich and the ZZs, they absolutely rock my world.
You've got listen, it's something you're doing, Doc. It is not, this doesn't happen to everybody. You're blessed to be in a profession that you're so good at, but that you actually love, and to get to surround yourself with people that respect and admire you and learn from you. But you're exuding goodness, kindness, willingness to help and educate and teach people, which is what we need. This is the kind of stuff that by the way, we'd love to have more politicians like this. You know what I'm saying? That are actually in the profession. Say it.
So true.
That are actually in their profession to do what they're supposed to be doing.
So true. Yeah.
Go on.
I want to make this a family show, so I'm not going to say anything more, but absolutely. And the empathy is most important, right? If even as a politician, if you have more empathy, you get to do real quality work, which Nandu is doing. It's so abundantly clear.
She does it in spades. And if you had more politicians that actually love politics and wanted to do to make this world a better place, go a better place, or whatever they're in charge of doing, and love like she does what she does, this place would be so much better, so much quicker. Doc, speaking of politics, is there somebody out there in the Goa government that you'd like to say thank you to that has kind of helped bridge, like you use the word bridge? Are there people in the government that you would want to say thank you to? And if there was somebody in the government listening, what would you like to have them do?
Well, in the government, there are two amazing people who Goa is blessed to have. One is the Disability Commissioner, Mr. Guru Pavaskar. He is just so committed to making sure the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act is implemented, and a very humble, determined person, very, very privileged to work with the Office of the Disability Commissioner. And the second person is his secretary, Mr. Taha Haziq. He's 100% visually impaired and a soul made of gold and goodness. And for me, the two of them are Jodi number one, I call them. They're just a power couple. And every year we work more closely together during the Purple Fest. and that is such an amazing gathering and a celebration of neurodiversity.
That's great that you've actually got people that are listening and helping you out that you can actually thank. In the education system, Doc, the current education system, it's a very broad, we don't have a whole lot of time, but I'm going to ask you a couple of rapid fire round questions. With our education system, how do you get more people, parents, teachers, educators to understand that every kid has different needs?
Yeah, I think most people have it in them. What we need to do is tap into that seed of humanity which exists in all of us, because human beings were made to connect.
Yeah.
Right? But, life gets stressful and we've had maybe some bad experiences. We are biased. And, we have to really, but we're good inside. I really believe all of us are good inside.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe experiences or conversations where we can tap into that goodness that exists, that humanity that exists in each of us, and getting to know people who are different from you. I think just to take that first step. Anyone who's different from you in any way, maybe they're a different religion, they're a different caste, they're a different socioeconomic group, whatever, they're different ability, whatever it is.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah. Just put your hand out and reach out and smile. Don't even start a conversation. Just start a smile. You see a parent who's struggling with a toddler, smile and say, hey, you got this. Yeah. This life can be tough.
We're losing that in this day and age.
Yeah,
humanity.
Just connect, and that's a start.
Yeah.
And I think if we overcome that fear and we connect and we show that compassionate curiosity, how things for you, is there anything I can do to help? That's it.
It makes it so much easier now.
It's as simple as that. And of course, everyone has their own circle of influence, their power. If people are in positions of power, you may be owning a company, you may be, as I said, a politician, you may be a teacher. Think, how can I make the world in my power, whatever power I have, how can I make the world a place, or my classroom a place, or my workplace a place where everyone is accepted? And even the people who are already there, I'm telling you, mental health, everyone has mental health, right?
Of course.
So in a workplace, what's the mental health like in your own workplace?
Yeah.
Right? Is there psychological safety?
Yeah.
Can I speak my mind without fear of that information being used against me? Right? And all of us have power and influence. So if we can open up and
do your bit.
Do our bit and not see power as authority, but the power to help, the power of being vulnerable, even, right? Be vulnerable, like do something which is awkward, which is difficult. You will be gifted by that experience.
In this day and age where everybody's on their phones, everybody's so being busy, trying to make that almighty, I was going to say dollar, but rupee to get by, and you forget about these things. Something as simple as compassion, love, caring, kindness goes a long way. It's the fear. It's people are scared to be embarrassed. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's a huge problem that people don't want to. Yes, my darling.
So I've got 2 questions. Please indulge me.
Quickly. We're running out of time.
Hey,
yes, but
it's her day.
Yes, thank you.
Don't listen to Merv. I'm in charge here.
Excellent. So what I wanted to say is, obviously, it's such a vocation for you and your team, what you do in Sethu and in the community. I just wanted to know, how do you get a work-life balance? Because you guys are the face of Sethu. You are.
Should we be asking Lewis?
What is the work-life balance like?
This is a question we asked my sister as well.
Yes, that's
Anjali.
I know. I forget I have a family, and well, I have ADHD. So here I read this definition of love in ADHD. You truly love a person with ADHD when you love them 100% of the time, and you leave them alone 99%.
Oh, love it.
So honestly, hats off to Luis, because he supports me so well, and really, I mean, I just do what the hell I like.
I love it.
And he continues to love me and, allow me to be the person I am. And sometimes, in fact, I'm like very stressed and he's asking me some questions. What day is it? Or what are we going to have for dinner? And I tell him, you know what? Please, I love you very much, but please get out of this room. Like, leave me alone, because if not, you're going to get blasted.
Oh my.
And he says, okay, bye, I'm going.
How do you do it? Wow.
That's a commonality.
Exactly like this. And poor fellow, sometimes he's telling me something and I said, how I can't listen. I said, just tell me 3 top things. Just tell me the one thing that you meant to say. He said, I was getting to it. So you won't believe this, but it works. When we argue, we set a timer.
Yeah.
Okay. Each one gets 3 minutes. During that 3 minutes, one person speaks, the other person cannot speak. And we have pieces of paper and, pencil where we can write. So it's very funny.
Brilliant.
Because sometimes you'll say, so we said, okay, you can't snort also. You can't roll your eyeballs.
The rules of engagement.
And it works. It really works. So we found our way. Yeah.
Yeah, but it works because you want it to work.
Brilliant.
And 48 years later, you're still as strong, if not stronger than ever, right?
I was lucky. I met him at 17 and 65 years still
But
there.
Nando, I got to say this to you. This is commonality with a lot of the people that do the work that you guys do. Even with Giselle, I said about Ashley. With you, I said about Louise. With Anjali, Roel is a rock star, dude. I don't even know his surname. What's his surname?
Eunice.
So Anjali Eunice does a lot of work, but her husband is another very similar temperamented person, right?
Absolutely.
It affords you ladies to excel and give so much to everybody out there. These guys don't get their comeuppance. These guys don't get the thanks.
But I'll tell you what, every time that we ask Anjali, why can't you dedicate more time? She said she's always dedicated to Nandu and the cause of Sethu. She always says, I cannot let that go. And that shows how committed everybody working there and who have been inspired by Nandu. They know that how important this work is. So I understand that very, very.
But Ajoy, you have that.
Maybe they were, I don't know. Again, I want to say that please don't call me humble. I'm not.
Okay.
But
we'll call you mumble. We'll call you mumble.
It is the work that's inspiring.
You sell yourself short. Stop it.
Please listen to me. To bear witness to the possibility of human beings, to see it flower and to be there to witness it. Oh my God, I'm going to cry again.
See, Nandu, do you know, listen, where there's smoke, there's fire. If this many people feel this way, obviously it's the truth. So yes, you're very modest. You're gonna get emotional, but that's how much people love you, because what you do is so important. By the way, that's Tony and Vina's daughter for sure. 100%. Not you. I'm not pointing at you. I'm talking about Anjali. She's definitely taken after her parents. She's always willing to give and give some more. Yes.
So there was another thing I wanted to ask you, just regarding Tourette syndrome.
Yes.
Is that something that you have come across also?
Yes.
Because the thing is, I wanted to mention it because I know a lot of what you talk about is about educating people to understand what these issues and conditions that people are dealing with. So are you aware of the film I Swear that has been recently released?
No.
There's a film, it actually won 3 BAFTAs just a few weeks ago, and it's about an activist called John Davidson who actually has got the condition of Tourette's. Anyway, it won these 3 awards, which is absolutely phenomenal because it's also teaching people about the syndrome, as it's known as.
Right.
But there was a really big controversy because obviously with Tourette's, it's this involuntary tics and people shouting out and things like that. And then when some people came to present an award on stage, then there was some involuntary shouting out. And then there was this controversy because the BBC left it in. Although it was time delayed, they left it in because they'd warned people ahead. You might hear some strong language and things that might be said as a result of people in the room with Tourette's.
There it is right there on the screen. They're showing.
Yeah. So, I really want to watch the film, but I was just going to say I wasn't sure whether you'd come across some kids that have actually got that condition here.
We have come across children with Tourette syndrome. It's not that common, but it definitely is there. And many kids with ADHD, actually tics and ADHD go together.
Right.
And there was an Indian film, Hichki, which was about Tourette's also.
What was the name of the movie? What was it?
Hichki.
Yeah. Okay.
So, so she's a teacher and she has Tourette syndrome. Of course, she's doesn't have Tourette's herself. She was acting. But I think, I think the movies, and especially having actors who are, who have that condition, right? That's the best way to raise awareness, because people sometimes are so ignorant, and, bias is, we are all biased. If we have a brain, we will have bias. And when you say bias, you're not aware of it. It's always unconscious bias. So it needs someone else to call it out. And I think that's important, where, where we see bias, we gently let that person know that that is a misconception, it's a myth, and probably comes from bias. And that way we can help each other also to overcome prejudice and attitudes which were there for a certain reason, right? But how reality has changed, and it's no longer the same world.
But I love the fact that you mentioned Rani Mukherjee's in a movie about these disorders. The fact of the matter remains it's being put out there and more people are aware. If it's in a movie rather than some silly love story, people are making movies about these things because they do happen. It should be more and more prevalent. Joy, she's got so many fans. I'm going to let this... Nanda, you know how long we've been on the air, by the way? You were so worried. Oh my God.
My bladder's getting full, so...
Go on, Joy. Go do it.
Last two messages from Malika. She says, Hi, Dr. Nandu. Caught the live a bit late on my drive home. In fact, I'm parked at the side of the road, listening and laughing with you. I can almost anticipate when the tears are coming. She also further says, you're the best example of how great women can be. You've made it our life's work to nurture and pour love into everything that crosses your path. Love you long time.
Thanks, Mali. That's so sweet. So I have a thing about this crying thing, right? So I always cry at work. In fact, there's always a box of tissues and many of us cry together. So when people say, don't get emotional, I said, you have a choice. If it's not crying, then it's farting. So you choose. It has to come out some way. So most
I'd rather you cry.
Yes, exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been tuned into the Merv Britto Show. We've been sitting and talking to the one and only, the rock star herself in here, Dr. Nandita DeSouza. It's been such a pleasure. I want to make people aware of, if you want to get involved with whichever possible way, if you can't get involved or you want to know more about these, go to their website, the Sethu website online. They are building a new building, if I'm not mistaken. It's not done.
Center.
People can, a new center for and it's a custom built property for the great work that they do. If you want to get involved, go read more about it. If you can, donate. There's a button. There's an opportunity there for you to give a little bit of yourself. There's a donate button if you want to get involved. They do absolutely amazing, brilliant work. I am a huge fan. Last couple of questions, Doc. On Women's Day, what is your wish? I know you wish transgender, and we spoke about this is another taboo topic, but you've got the floor to make your wish on this Women's Day 2026. What would you want to see happen here? And this show's specifically about Goa. Forget about everywhere else. What would you like to see happen here in this place we call home?
So for me, the women in Goa are an inspiration. The most recent example is all the women who have been taking part in all the protests, whether it's Mirabag or in Taligaon, everywhere. It's the women who are at the forefront.
Yeah.
And these are women who have families, they have to cook for them, they have to look after their homes. They may not have had much of an education, but my goodness, what power, what courage to challenge the order, like the establishment. So for me, those are the real heroes. As I said, I come from a position of privilege. It's very easy for me to sit here and say, I did this, I did that, right? But honestly, it's come pretty easy to me. And I want every woman to know that they have power, to own their power. And, even if you're struggling, there is power in that struggle, which can be mined or which can be revealed to help you understand that you are wonderful, you are strong, and you are not alone. I really want everyone to know that you are not alone, because as human beings, we must connect and reach out to each other.
It takes a village, Doc.
It takes a village, and all of us belong there.
We talk about villages right here in Goa, and I keep saying that people are so busy and they've become so callous, and there's always a chance to reach out, a helpful, a friendly hand, a smile, like you said. My wish for Women's Day, and I really want to wish, I take this very seriously because there's a lot of important people, women in my life that have helped me get to whatever we've been able to do. My wish for this Women's Day is for all the parents, the women. Yes, obviously their husbands there, but for the women that give endless number of hours to these kids with special needs, to nurture, to bring these kids into the world, and they've got to function as young adults and adults later on. And the tireless hours, you guys are the heroes out there that are able to do. Yes, you have the ability to go and speak to these people, these experts like Dr. Nandita and organizations like Sethu, but you guys are the actual heroes that are doing the work to do what you do to help these people with special needs. My salam, my salute to you guys. Thank you. On this Women's Day, a great shout out and a thanks to you guys for the work you do to help these people to get ahead, to get by. No?
One last thing.
Go on.
We say working women. All women work.
No, obviously,
right?
but
so when and all work is valuable. In fact, the work that women do in their homes, in caring, not only for children, but for, their parents, for their siblings, right? For other women. I think that's very important to value that work and not to refer to women who work outside the home as the working women, because all women work. Some women work outside their homes.
Yes.
But in the home, outside the home, all women work.
No, but I meant above and beyond.
I don't think you said working women. I'm not correcting you.
You are correcting me. It's okay. I'm used to it.
She was
At the end of the day, it's Women's Day. You guys, you and Joanne rule the roost and run the show. The fact of the matter remains, you guys go above and beyond. Yes, every woman works. Every woman they don't have a choice to get it done. And here in India, we like to say, oh, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. I'll get it done. But
hey, I have one more message.
Men need to appreciate that.
Yes, and I think women have to have their own money. That's very important to me. You may have the best husband in the world, or father, brother, whoever, but girls, have your own money, because it just gives you power.
That's a whole different show. I can't give you any advice about it. Listen, you guys are rock stars. What you do, we couldn't survive without what you all do. Dr. Nandita DeSouza, you and Sethu. Guys, I can't say this. Sethu, say me, say it for all. I keep coming to mind when I say the word Sethu. I want to sing that Lionel Richie song, dude. Sethu. If you guys want to get involved, and it's so important because these guys are the silent heroes. They do this behind the scenes, like all the mothers and fathers out there. They do what they have to do because they have to do it. Otherwise, it's going to fall apart. So they're the unsung heroes. They do it behind the scenes, and especially people with special needs. Their parents have done so much to help them get beyond that threshold, to get ahead. Doc, one really simple question I want to ask you. Does a child with ADHD, are they able to function as an adult? Does it get easier? You mentioned the brain elasticity, but how, for example, somebody with Down syndrome is going to have Down syndrome for the rest of their lives. Somebody with ADHD, does it get better, men or women? Does it get better, easier to survive?
Everything gets better. You learn. If you're given the opportunities, everyone can do their best and even some more.
Can they take care of themselves?
Of course. Why not?
So they can function as normal. The tics with some people
normal.
Can't.
I don't like the word normal.
No. I mean, some people can't be touched. You can't touch them on the head. You can't do this, that, and the other. In time, does that go away?
I think we have to respect each one's individuality.
It doesn't go away, though, does it?
Down syndrome? No,
not Down syndrome. I'm talking about somebody with, for example,
neurodivergence, any form of neurodivergence. No, it doesn't go away. Yeah. It's a lifelong condition. At the same time, your brain grows, correct? So, and if you have a good environment, you can create an environment where everybody can function to their best and participate. That's the important thing. So just because I can't walk doesn't mean I don't have a right to participate in sports or to climb a mountain, correct? find a way.
I think the question I was asking is somebody, for example, autism. I've seen it happen before. Where
You're on about independent living. Are you?
That's what I'm talking about. They were able to, like Doc says, you can't touch them on certain places.
Yes,
you can't
don't touch them.
So, no, but I'm saying they get married. They can have a normal, natural life.
Of course.
And that all of. So
if they want to, if they don't want to get married, that's their right also.
And that's the salute that I put out to these parents to get them from kids to that age to be able to function as functioning, contributing adults.
Every child knows, even the children who are non-speaking, we can find a way to help them to communicate and give them a voice. There's technology. I mean, there's solutions for everything.
Does social media help? Does AI help? The social media, obviously, everybody's into their phones and they're staring at their phones. Does AI or social media or any of technology help your science?
Well, yes, of course, AI can help. At the same time, it's not the only solution. I think human beings are very important. Certain things that are like donkey's work, things that are done again and again and again, I'm sure AI can help with that. However, I think human beings can never be replaced. And, AI may make human beings work easier so that they can do things that human beings do best, which is connecting with each other. And so like social media, yes, now there are chat bots where, you can get counseling, but it is not the same as having a human being in the room.
Yeah.
Nothing like social interaction.
It's relationship. Change happens in the context of relationship. That's the best. So it doesn't matter what type of therapy it is. If you look at the research, whether you do CBT, DBT, narrative, whatever it is, the results are almost the same. But it is having another person in relationship, non-judgmental, safe, accepting, valuing. That's what makes the change.
I can't put it any better myself. I couldn't have said that any better. That's why you're the expert. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want more information about Sethu, go online. If you can help out any which way you can, go online, check out. There's information on the web about Sethu, the organization. If you ever see this lady out there, go in and say hello. She's an absolute rock star. She's funny. She's just so personal. But that's what I love. And that's what so many of you out there listening love about the fact that she's so approachable and so helpful.
And she's happily married, so don't raise your hopes.
Well, that's not what I would say. Go and say hello.
That's a different show also.
That's a whole different show. On this International Women's Day, I cannot think of a nicer, a better, or more intelligent, smarter host. By the way, a guest. We've done 2.5 hours. This is the longest show we've ever done.
Nobody with ADHD is going to watch it till the end.
It doesn't make a difference. You're on the show, and that's what matters. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking to the one and only Dr. Nandita DeSouza. I want to thank you once again for taking the time to be on the show, for all the work you do, for the hearts, the number of hearts and people you've touched in your career, Doc. I want God to continue to bless you and your lovely husband, your son, Dhruv. But God bless you and keep doing.
And my team, Sethu.
Listen, you it's like a magnet. You draw these people to you, and they're great people because you put them all together, and that's the kind of stuff you do. God continue to bless you. Keep up the good work. Thank you once again. Happy Women's Day.
Bless you too, Merv, and Joanne, and all the lovely guys here in the studio. See, y'all are the ones who make things possible. That's exactly what I mean. I don't do anything alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the one and only Dr. Nandita DeSouza. This is Merv Britto on the longest show we've ever done, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you once again, Dr. Nandita DeSouza, and Merv Britto out.
Thank you.
Done?